Good morning, everyone. In this live streaming event, I'm actually going to go over what I see on the Forex and futures. And we will see what happens. Give me just a moment to get everything set up. Okay, I'm going to start with the USD JPY. The one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that it is almost overextended on the RSI and the ADX. And so that tells me we're probably going to get a retracement today on the USD JPY. Now, that retracement could be very small. It could come up to this blue moving average, or it could come all the way up to a 110.42. It will be one of the two. Now, I think it's going to kick off pretty quickly here, although it's not moving very fast at the moment. I think it will perhaps by the time the U.S. session starts. It probably will. So let's go ahead and move over to the Aussie yen. And again, you see that this is overextended on the Aussie yen, almost overextended on the RSI, but it is not overextended here. The one thing that I am looking at is as this is making lower lows. The RSI is not making lower lows, and neither is the ADX. The ADX is a non-directional indicator, so therefore it should be making higher highs in the ADX, even though price is making lower lows. Again, it's a non-directional indicator. And then over on the Aussie dollar, you can see that it's kind of making a double bottom at the moment. It is overextended on the stochastics, so we could get a retracement up to 69.89. But it could go all the way up to here, but typically it will come here. Let's go over and look at the euro yen. On the euro yen, again, you're seeing almost to the point of being overextended on the RSI and the ADX. So again, this is telling me that we're probably going to get a retracement. Now, it could just retrace back to 123.07. Then again, it could retrace all the way back to 123.69. Especially with these two really overextended, that's where I would anticipate it to go. When we go and look at the euro dollar, you can see that we are in a congestion area at the moment. This is telling us that we're in congestion. So if you had any doubt about it whatsoever, then you would actually know just by looking at that. Moving down to the British pound yen, again, you're seeing that overextension here. So again, this is telling me that we're probably going to get a retracement. Now, this is important because if you're a trend trader, you really do not want to go in this market when it's overextended. Okay? Wait for the retracement. If you're a counter trend trader, then we have a setup where you could trade this back to the ATR, okay, using a lower time frame. Then if we go over to the British pound dollar, you can see only the stochastics is overextended. You do see momentum coming in to the downside. That's what the RSI in the ADX is showing you. Now, I would expect this to come back and test around 30.34. It could go as high as 30.74, and then you may get another push down. On the USD CAD, you can also see you have an area of resistance above. You have that 3-bar reversal here, which tells me this is probably going to go down. And then you have the ATR directly below. So we may get a push back down to 34.35. And that's if this area right here from 34.74 down to 34.66 does not hold price up. And it doesn't look like it's going to do a very good job of it at the moment. Moving over to the USD Swiss franc, you can see that it has a line of blue dots here. Okay, the ATR just flipped below price. It's now went from red to blue. Okay, so I would anticipate a potential test of 0161, and then if that area holds, we could potentially get another move up. Now looking at the futures today, you can see that you have the weekly, the daily, and the 360 here. We've had a strong downtrend. This is coming off of the weekly, and I've been talking about this for a while because this is overextended. And I was telling people they needed to lock in profits. I think it was around this bar that I started telling you, hey, you need to start looking at locking in profits because the market's going to retrace, and that's what's happening this week. Of course, it's all the news from China in the U.S. and the tariffs. So we're getting a very, very strong downward movement this week. We are not overextended on either the daily or the 360. And this kind of holds true for all of these markets that I'm tracking. You can see they're not overextended on anything but this weekly. And that's going to cause a big push down. Now this magenta peak here says, okay, it's probably going to come back to 72.81 on the NASDAQ. Okay, you are approaching a level on the 360 that could result in an upward movement either today or tomorrow. In other words, it's probably going to come back either to 76.21 or even 77.10. On the Russell, we pretty much have the same scenario. The only difference is on the 360, it is already overextended at an area that may support price, and this is a very weak bearish bar. In fact, I would expect this to go up to 1580, okay? But remember, you have this divergence over here on the weekly, and this is going to be a strong push down. So you may not go all the way back to the ATR at 1594. This is when this blue moving average really starts to kick in. That's what's going to hold price back. Okay, when we go down to even a lower time frame, okay, the S&P 45, you can see that you had divergence on this last bar. So I'm looking at a potential pullback to 28.75, 28.70 to 28.75 is what I would be looking at. If we go down to the NASDAQ, you can see you've had that same divergence over here, okay? You also, if you're measuring on the RSI, there's divergence on the RSI, and there's divergence on the ADX. Now, I do think that this blue area may hold, and it may push back to 76.07. it's important to watch all of this area from 75.93 up to 76.07. Okay, that entire area that could form a resistance zone, and that will keep it from moving up. Then if we go over to the Russell, you're seeing pretty much the same thing. I do think we're potentially going to go up to 1573 with the higher time frame on the 360 being overextended. We could even push up to 1577. Now, a lot's going to depend on the opening of the market today. They are anticipating on Friday to add those additional tariffs to China. So we could see more downward movement depending on that. Is very fluid at the moment. But it does look like this is going to go up initially, but don't be surprised if it comes back down. So that's the update for this morning. It will be posted as a recording shortly. So if you missed any portion of it, you can go back and watch it. Hopefully, I'll be able to do more of these in the future. I hope everyone has a wonderful trading day, and I will see you at the next one.